Fire analogy. How will you keep your wood stove burning? In this video, you will learn a great analogy to critically evaluate the mainstream advice to eat 5 to 6 small meals per day. A piece of really common advice that we hear is how we should eat 5 to 6 small meals each day to keep our blood sugar levels stable. I never used to question this advice because it seems to make perfect sense at first glance. In theory, smaller meals should result in less extreme blood sugar highs and lows. But it wasn't until I read the book Primal Body, Primal Mind, in which author Nora Gedgaudas uses an analogy that really resonated with me and challenged me to think a bit more critically about this issue. She asks you to imagine your metabolism is like a wood stove you depend on to heat your home during a cold Canadian winter. Carbohydrates and refined sugars represent the kindling for your fire, so the paper, the twigs, and the sticks. And alcohol is like gasoline for your fire. So could you keep a fire going with kindling? Technically you could, but you need a mountain of it handy to prevent it from always burning out. And you wouldn't be able to go too far away because tending to this fire would practically be a full-time job. Contrast that with putting a nice big log on your fire, which is equivalent to eating healthy fat and protein at every meal. The log burns for hours at an even, steady rate, and all of a sudden you're not tethered to your fire in order to keep it going. In the case of your metabolism, ensuring you eat enough healthy fat and protein, or the plate, affords you the great luxury of not needing to eat a meal or snack every 2 hours. You're much more free to live your life without being at the mercy of your volatile energy levels. It's actually quite liberating. The sad thing today is that we've been cautioned against using big logs for our fire, and in essence, forced our bodies into burning cheap fuel or kindling. By consuming the very foods that are recommended to us, like sugar, muffins, cereal, crackers, pasta, rice, bread, and potatoes, our bodies have no choice but to burn sugar to survive. If that's what we feed ourselves, that's what we'll burn. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best way to eat. The only way to become the fat burners we all want to be is to reduce the sugar in our diets. And as we've seen so far, this sugar is lurking in most of the processed foods that have become so accepted for us to consume nowadays, even the food products we tend to think of as healthy. So the next time you're making a food choice, we would urge you to consider this question. Is this food like kindling, or is it like a big log? Kindling will likely leave you feeling hungry again in an hour or two. Big logs will sustain you for several hours or more and will typically be foods containing healthy fat, protein, and fiber, as we've outlined in our plate suggestions.